Hi everybody, this is Andreas Nest, your business coach. So today we are talking to Owen Costen, who runs DLM Group. Just wanted to find out how he got to where he is. So thank you very much for seeing me, Owen.
You're welcome.
So first of all, tell us about your start, where you are now.
Okay, of course. So I suppose it's a bit of a interesting story to some people that I was local. I started in local government straight out of college here, and what we did from there was I learnt my trade really from that point of view.
And what trade was it?
That's to do with data security, compliance, and processes in businesses really. And I did a number of years in there, but it was just back end of when the government started to make a few changes with different organisations without going into it too much. And we found ourselves where I'm having to find an alternative job because...
What was it working for the government then?
Correct, directly.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so I went to different embassies around the world, effectively,
All right.
and looked at their processes and procedures, and went from there.
Okay.
So did that for a number of years as a security, in the security side of things, and then I moved on to working for the corporate space, where I then started to learn other trades. And things like that, structured of business and P&Ls and things like that. Anybody
in particular?
So I've got some bigger names in there. So I work with a lot of consultancy from a Xerox and a Canon point of view. I've done some work with people like American companies called Office Depot. Some big international businesses as well as some small, very local businesses here to where we are today.
And you were an employee at that stage?
Some of those companies I have been employed by. Some of them I was a contractor for.
Okay.
And the reason why I did that way was I thought, well, actually, I'd quite like to do several roles to gain some experience.
Okay.
I think that was the biggest thing I wanted to do, was not really understanding where I wanted to go. What I wanted to do next was understanding what is it I liked.
Okay.
And it's working for these organisations I found that I liked running a business.
Right.
I enjoyed that, but didn't necessarily have the skill set to do it.
Okay.
So for a number of reasons, working through the different organisations, I found myself a number of years ago saying, do you know what, I actually want to do this for myself. And I think the tipping point for that really was health and family.
Health and family?
Yeah. Well,
swapping the corporate life for self-employment?
Basically, yeah. 100,000 miles a year, flights, things like that. It took its toll.
Right.
With a couple of illnesses. That wasn't anything serious, but it really started to affect me, a sort of a wake-up call. I had a little boy.
Okay.
And not really seeing him grow up and missing stuff and making excuses why I couldn't do things. Enough was enough. So I thought, I need to take the charge. So that's why I started my own company.
Right. How many years ago was that?
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, so while setting up the company, I think my first sort of experience with it was, how am I going to get my customers? Cash flow.
Marketing.
Sales, and doing it all. I used to have support of that. Lucky enough to come across some companies that actually, although I was only working for them, I was doing it under my banner as my company to give me that foundation of cash flow and everything else. And that's how it started really. That's the birth of DLM Group was simply that.
It's a bit funny what you said earlier regarding, you're wearing now suddenly different hats when before in the corporate world you can say, oh, the marketing department do that, the sales, but now then as a self-employed person, you do it all by yourself.
Yes.
And how did you gain those skills?
I think the biggest thing for me was self-employment and self-education more than anything. And what I meant by that is understanding what some of the experts out there say. So I'm a really big fan of the E-Myth.
Okay,
and read that a couple of times, an audio book and stuff like that. And it really, although I'm a bit of a control freak, really understanding what I need to do.
Absolutely.
And outsourcing. So once you get over, I think once I got over that hurdle of actually letting go, I went and did it.
And it's a brilliant book, right? It's Mike Lee Gerber, right? And he tells a story about all the pain, things that don't work, right? And then he gives you the solutions of how to more or less put your business into like a franchise.
Correct.
So you can actually have a package that works on all ends.
Yes.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be in expensive, real high-end companies. It's someone that gives you some advice. You can do some yourself, but also has the avenues to actually help you go forwards.
Right. So you made a decision in the early days not to do it all by yourself, but to also outsource kind of functionalities where you thought, I'm never going to be really, really that good at it. Why don't I use an expert, a local expert, that can do it for me? And did that work out for you?
Absolutely. And it's not necessarily because I wasn't going to be good in it. It's that time factor. Identify what my real skill sets were, which was the operation and actually getting in front of people and talking to people. But their skill sets was to help me support in the background.
Yeah.
The bits that I used to have all the support of the big corporates, having that behind me now,
right.
And having that in their disguise, it works for them.
Right.
So that massively worked for me. You know, I found a great web guy and platform that helped me to support that. And then I found an accountant. Then I found social media, and I've got now effectively a winning board.
Yeah, team around you that help you create a great business.
Yeah.
So how did the DLM Group then came into existence, and what is it?
Okay, so existence of it is made up of a couple of companies. The main one being what I do every day with the compliance side of everything else. That's solely my business. Yeah. But there's other organisations where through relationships over a number of years, not necessarily have an exit strategy. Yeah. And what I did there was say to them, look, okay, you've got a client base here. That's really, really interesting. Yeah. I've got some things that I could take to these clients that you could enjoy. But I would help you go for here. So it's looking at those businesses and saying, okay, I tell you what, let's do some sort of equity share, and do a plan, longevity reasons, and go right. Okay, so at this point here, you want to leave the business. Yeah. Okay, well, of a person on their personal experience and someone on their journey today, quite early on, I've got a long business career, hopefully. Yeah. So I can take that even further. So let's work on a plan how we can work your equity down, work mine up, and have that transition and bringing it all into the blend. And that's really how those sort of conversations started. And it's worked really well because the referral side of things, this client who works with us, one person in the group who wants to use these services, but not having it all in one brand, you said to me, works really well.
Okay, that's very good. And is there anything in when you started 5 years ago that didn't work very well?
I think really the first 6 months was being that sort of blinkered almost and say, I can do this. Yeah. And I don't need any help.
Oh, I see.
And really going for it from that point of view, first of all. Yeah. I think that wasn't great at the time. I think I had maybe if I took some more advice.
Did you have enough cash in the background to see that through? Or?
No, I had my redundancy money. Right. I had a little bit in the bank. Right. But, having that redundancy, I had 3 months of non-employment.
Right. So you need to fund that as well.
I had to fund that as well. Yeah. So cash flow was an absolute pain in the backside.
Yeah. But you overcame that by?
Absolutely. By, as I say, by going to some organisations and saying, working for them almost full time, but as a contractor, then put some cash in the bank there.
So even the money was short, you still decided to, no matter how much it cost, I can't do that on my own, I need some help.
Yes.
And so then you spent whatever you had, the little bit you had left, on somebody who was good at what they were doing, right? To help you in the areas, marketing, sales, etc., website.
Absolutely. I just quite quickly identified it's not about putting on something on a platform or some sort of marketing that you're going to get returned tomorrow. Yeah. It's a bit like the sofa adverts. It's always a sale at the sofa places. Yeah. Why is that? Because they're always in your face. Yeah. And it's being that person that when they are looking for something that you do, to say, I know someone. Yeah. And if I didn't have that continuous marketing, if I didn't have that continuous message going, and not just something that just started yesterday, then I don't think that would have happened.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And so now it's going really well?
Yes.
You're growing very well, yeah?
Yeah, I have challenges, which is we're now in the state where we're about to open a local office. Okay. So that comes with its own challenges and distractions. Yeah. I think the next sort of hurdles we've got at the moment is finding the right staff.
Okay, recruitment, yeah?
Absolutely.
So is that the next big thing for you then, yeah? Office, getting properly established and having a site, which is then the DLM Group.
It was always a passion that we wanted to, although we have an office present at all the other locations that we work with as part of the group, it was always a passion to open a local office to where I live.
Okay, so it's almost like a headquarter?
Which will become the headquarters.
Right, okay.
Simple reason why is, to be selfish, it's closer to home.
Yeah, you don't have to travel.
I don't have to travel anymore. And second of all, I have a passion that what I want to do going forwards is give back to people that I know have challenges. And what I mean by that is having a small family, a young family, having seen the challenges that also the connections by having that family have about recruitment, finding the right job to fit around children, stuff like that. We are looking at potentially doing a way of saying, actually, we want to recruit people, term time only, that will help and support local families still earn, but also be there for their kids. Because I don't want them being in the situation I was 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. You want now security, stability, and you want to create a legacy that you can move forward, right?
Absolutely.
So is there any tip that you can give to similar businesses and that are struggling at the moment? Is there anything that you would give them in terms of an advice that you have learned over the last 5 years?
I suppose one of the things I would say is get off the wheel. And what I mean by that is the amount of people I hear, whether it's colleagues or whether it's other businesses that I work with and stuff like that will say, have no time. Well, because they've got that mindset, they don't know what else is out there. I have a personal saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, true.
So if you don't know that, how do you know there's something wrong or something's good?
Yeah.
So just it's a bit cliche, but do a health check.
Yeah.
Am I still going the right direction? Your short, your long-term goals and stuff like that. Ask for help. It's not a problem. Ask for help from experts, genuine experts as well is important.
Absolutely.
And sound that out. Do that sort of thing. Whether that's going networking, whether that is inviting someone in on a one-to-one basis, there's lots of ways of doing that.
So by the wheel, you mean the finding work, do the work, find the work, do the work, find the work, do the work.
The general mentality of the day work. I go to work, I do some stuff, and I go home again.
Yeah, it's what we call working in the business and not on the business.
Correct. You've got it there.
Okay.
But I would definitely say look at those more and more, because the more you have help and support and go together, then you won't necessarily. You've got a team around you that will help and support you, not only in your highs, but also your lows.
Absolutely. Crucial, very crucial. Okay, good advice, thank you. And is there anything that you would like to share with your audience? Any upcoming big events? I know you're in a recruitment drive, you're looking for talents that would like to join your group.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you would like to announce?
So obviously, a lot of what we do on the data protection side is obviously we're doing lots of webinars. So go on the website. There is a feedback form on there.
That's for GDPR,
For GDPR in particular. Put it in there. We're happy to share and advise people. We've got portals that we've launched now that you can do a lot of your stuff self-help. And again, there's lots of useful resources on there, etc., help and advice. So that's sort of with the opening of the office, growing the recruitment, and GDPR coming on May the 25th, 2018, is two of the big things happening for us right now. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well that's great. Well, thank you very much, Owen. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And that was some great advice from Owen there. Yeah, get off the hamster wheel and start looking outside what else you can do to actually improve your business, and perhaps get somebody in to help you open your eyes and look a bit of outside the box. What else is there? Thank you very much. That's it for this week. I will see you again. Bye-bye.